Good day, Met 330 students. In this video, we're going to see a few examples of reading and processing 2D arrays. We're going to use a previous file you've already copied over to your Met 330 directory, array_read.4. So go ahead and get in your Met 330 directory and open up array_read.4. Now previously we had done this and run example number 3, and so we need to comment this one out. So go ahead and get into insert mode and add your C's to comment this one out, and then we're going to uncomment example number 4. And so example number 4 here is going to read in a two-dimensional array. And so here we're setting up all of our necessary parameters and variables, and we're setting up a temp variable to be size 1, size 2, which would be a 2 by 3 two-dimensional array. Reading in from unit number 13 from array2.txt available in the Met330_examples. And here we're using a nested do loop. And so ultimately our data should be on 3 times 2, or 6 different rows. And so we're going to read in and store in temp row, col, and we're going to print out row, col as we're doing so, and then print out all of our temps at the end. So let's go ahead and actually see what this file looks like. So let's copy this file name. We're going to right quit, exit out, and then we're going to VI and look at this file name. So remember, nested do loop, so that we're going to hit read 6 times. So looking at this file here, 78, 82, 76 on row 1, 79, 76, and 78 on row 2. Do we think that this is going to be successful running our code to read these 6 values with hitting the read statement 6 times? Well, let's find out. So we've changed our code, so we need to go ahead and compile. So gf77-o array_read.exe array_read.for. No compile errors. Let's go ahead and run it. /array_read.exe. Whoop, and we got an error. Right, so we started at row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, or rather, column 1, column 1, row 2, the way that FORTRAN would read it in. Then we got an error that said end of file. And so it turns out that once we hit that third read statement, FORTRAN couldn't go any further because we didn't have a third row. So we wouldn't successfully be able to do our reading in with this nested do loop structure because it's 2 full do loops. Instead, what we need for this tabular-like data is an outer do loop with an inner implied do loop. So let's go back into our file, array_read.for, comment out example number 4, and uncomment number 5. Again, this is doing the same thing. But now, using our proper outer do loop with an implied inner do loop to read across to get our 6 total values read in. And then we're going to print all those temperatures out. Then we're going to process through element by element to calculate our temperature, which we're reading in Fahrenheit, and compute it into Celsius and store it in its appropriate address. So we're adding TMPC, a new variable here, printing those out. And then I'm going to show you that it's also equivalent that we could process all of them in one fell swoop. And that this line here is the equivalent of this nested do loop here, because FORTRAN on the back end is going to do it element by element. And here we're going to print out our variables in a tabular style format. And then we're going to use some slicing to print out just some individual values. So let's see what this all looks like. We changed our code, so we have to compile it, and we have to run it. All right, runs pretty fast. So we read in all 6 values here. We converted and printed out all of our values. But now we printed out our values in a tabular structure similar to what our read-in structure looked like. And then here we printed out only certain values from our array. So we printed out from row 1 and 2, columns 2 and 3. Right? So let's go back in to see what that looks like again. Again, we were using slicing here, and we can slice on both dimensions. So we want from rows 1 and 2, just columns 2 and 3 for each row 1 and 2. So that's what's going on there. And we see that in our printout, right? Here's our full tabular data. And so column 2, so rows 1 and 2, we want the information from just columns 2 and 3, so that we are printing out just those values right there. Not this first value here, but the 27.777, 24.444, 24.444, and 25.555, which is what we see in this last row. Pretty cool how we can combine a whole bunch of this stuff. And so again, it's not hard to do some of these things, but it does take time to be able to think like the computer. And so feel free to review these videos in order to get comfortable with this idea of arrays, both reading in and then processing and slicing through them as well. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.